Today I'm going to show you how to do a very easy landscape picture. I'm starting with titanium white and cobalt blue on a repurposed canvas. Following it with adding some yellow ochre to the mix to produce the grass. Then I'm putting in a dark brown background. This is really important because it'll make the tree stand out. So a dark background is the easiest way to make a feature of your landscape. I'm even darkening the base a bit more by adding phthalo green and cadmium red, and drawing the brush alongside it just to make sure it's a little bit rougher there so it looks like grass. Now I'm adding a little blossom tree at the back. I'm adding it with my scuzzy brush, which I've told you about, and it's all dancing across the page to produce those blossoms in the background. Also some little grass at the bottom. Now I'm chalking in the tree just very roughly. This is about as close as I get to drawing for this. Just to give me an idea of placement, which is 1/3 across and 1/3 down. Drawing in the trunk with a very nice little brush, and also putting in the skeleton of the tree because it gives it some sort of shape and an idea of where I want to go with this. Very fine little lines, just leading back to the main trunk. Gives them a bit of life, a bit of lift. Now, with the scuzzy brush, putting the leaves in, just dabbing them in very gently with very dry brush and very dry paint. Don't cover the whole thing, you just want to see some of that background behind it. Now I come back with the blossoms. Once again, the scuzzy brush, I'm making to make it dance across the page, turning and twisting it as I go, because we don't want the same shape all the time. We want it to look as if the blossoms are quite natural. Going on further up the trunk, just turning and twisting that scuzzy brush as we go, because it really will do the job. Make sure that your paint is fairly thick, got lots of paint on the brush, but just on the edge so you can dance it across the surface. Right up to the top now, and you can see the shape of the tree appearing against the dark, which is what we want, because it's the way that makes the subject stand out, to put a light subject against a dark background. Dancing further up. Now I'm just putting a few of the little blossoms just sort of off the edge, because you know how it sort of looks like it's connected, which it is, but you don't need to put the little branches in. It's just the eye will see these little branches, little blossoms. Putting some branches now in the top tree behind it, just a very fine brush just to suggest it. Then darkening it a bit more at the background. Still adding a little bit more white now, just fussing with it a bit, just making it a little bit thicker, a little bit more at the edges, just covering up that blossom tree behind. Now darken the trunk, burnt sienna and titanium white, using a fine brush and suggesting that branches that go through, just make them sort of join the dots. They don't have to go all the way through, they're not in front of the blossoms, they actually go through the blossoms. So you weave them through the tree. Turning it upside down, it's easy for me with my little brain, I can do better upside down. Brush now flat with very dry paint, dragging it down over the surface to get that green happening. Very dry paint, no sloppy stuff here. Use the texture underlying to help you get those grasses happening. I take it more or less over the trunk because the trunk is in front of the grass. We'll redraw the trunk later. Darkening it a bit more, making the brushes at the front a little bit longer and a little bit darker, so I've added a bit more colour to it, and you can see I've got the brush really quite flat there. And dry paint again. Up the right way, here we go. Darken the trunk a little bit more now, and a bit more white, a bit more thing, just to give it a bit of life and shape. I'm going to have the light coming from the right, so I'm keeping the right hand side of the tree a little bit lighter and darkening the left. That's up to you. Now the shadow, of course, will go the same way, which once again the scuzzy brush comes to play, because the shadow is drifting over the grass and it can just do a beautiful job just doing that, because I find you can be quite creative using that brush. Now just to lighten up the trunk a little bit more and add some grass around the bottom, because there's always grass growing longer at the bottom of a tree. and a little bit more grass at the bottom, growing just single branches, single blades. You don't have to do it all. I'm just darkening the background so behind the blossoms a bit because it makes them stand out more. Because I got a bit carried away there, so I'm just sort of darkening the background a little bit more behind it just to make them stand out. I'm just using this beautiful brush here because it's works so well. And there you have it, a blossom tree. It's a quick sketch, and I hope you enjoyed doing it. It's something very simple for you to try it. If you're in Australia, maybe you want to try a gum tree. Same thing, same approach, different colours. Enjoy.